Play a special card from your graveyard. Damage a unit by 1. Refresh this unit's charge on round start. Charge 4. So it has 4 charges. Could take Garrot Professional, yeah. Damage a unit by 1. Refresh this unit's charge on round start. So basically damage a unit. I don't think that's a good ability for leader. Feel like that's weak unless some card synergizes with that. Play a special card from your graveyard. Maybe. Play a special card from your graveyard seems good, I think. This is basically all Daphne. But it has only 1 charge, that's the weakness of it. Move a unit to another row on its side. If it's an enemy, damage it by 2. If it's an ally, boost it by 2. Okay, so you basically have some movement. It's Zoltan. It has 3 charges. It's basically a Zoltan. Yeah. I think that's a Zoltan. It's basically a Zoltan old. Alondra seems very good. Alondra. Boost all units in your hand by 1. So it's basically like an old Yorvet without damage and strength. He can be used 4 times though. The 4th charge, I think it can be really weak, but the first 2 can be really good. Like you could also pass on a coin flip, but use it once. And then use it again in the next turn without losing any cards. I feel like that's pretty good. Boost all other elf allies by 1. Whenever you play an elf, boost self by 1. So it's basically the old bronze rider, I think. But it also boosts self by 1 whenever you play an elf. It has 4 power. This is kinda good, but I think you would have to have some artifact card, or if you lose a coin flip, that's also useful to boost him. Because he can be easily killed and then you lose like 11 provisions, okay. Oh, I put Zoltan in. Destroy a unit with power less than or equal to the number of allied dwarfs. So it's basically the old Sassantesis Blaze. The old Sassantesis. It destroys a unit with... It could be good, but it has the same weakness as the old Sassantesis. 6 power though. He needs like 5 dwarfs to be decent for his provision cost. If you say that it's 11 for 11 provision cost. This gem doesn't show the charges, if I understand correctly, but how often you can swap cards in first round. Oh, the gem? Yeah, let's check the gem. So the gem... So that's how it works. Oh, now I understand. This is the number of the... How many mulligans can you have? And this is actually can be used every turn. Once per every turn. If what I understand is correct. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's the how it works. So this is a mulligan number, and this can be used every turn order. Okay, now I get it. Okay, what is a synthesis now? Immune, that's good. Order remove this unit's immune status only for the duration of the turn. What the f... Okay. So why would you go and remove the immune status? There has to be some synergy for that. There has to be some synergy for that. Isegrim seems strong because you can either play him in the beginning for all the buffs or in the end to buff all elves, so it's same value. Yeah, pretty much. But if you play him in the beginning, you have to buff him because 4 value removal is just too common. Elias, no ability for 11 provision cost? This seems weak. It just seems weak. From what I've seen from monsters, the 11 provision cost needs around 11 value. More or less. 9 is a bit weak. Oh no, it's basically a little bit different. But 9 still seems not great. It's maybe an average for 11 provision cost, I think. Yeah, it's average. But no ability cards are never great to use. Unless there are some cards that have synergy with 9 strength cards. Fine, let's go to another one. This. Look at random dwarf, dryad and elf from your deck, then play one. So this can be any card. This can be any card, so also golds work. This could be good, but also it's not really consistent. I don't know. Could be worth it. Now it's lean. Boost the Scoia'tael unit in your hand by 4. Costs 12 though. But it has some synergy with hand buffing. If you have at least 4 traps in your starting deck, play 2 random traps from it. Okay, so we can do... I'm gonna remove Zoltan. We can do a trap deck. I would love to do it. So that's pretty much it for 11 plus. You can buff Sescentis and then it's immune again. Yeah, but I kinda don't understand the point of removing the immune ability. Okay. If there are 5 or more allied elves, summon this unit from your deck to the middle row. Well, in this game that's actually pretty strong. 4 value summon for 10 provision cost, this seems okay. Seems like an average. In an elf deck that's great. It's like an old Aileron. Nothing new here. Damage all damaged units by 1 and boost all boosted units by 1. Okay. This is really interesting. It seems like mixture between Skellige and Scoia'tael, I don't know. But yeah, it seems pretty interesting. There has to be a lot of cards that damage units. Gobur Zigrin, okay, that's a new card. Melee gain resilience, okay. Ranged gain immune. Okay. Whenever you play a dwarf, boost self by 1. It would be interesting if you would be able to change his abilities by moving him from row to row. I don't know if that works like that, but maybe. For example, first you play it on ranged, and then Before you end the turn, you move him to melee for resilience. This could be really good. Order, choose one, boost this unit on the left, boost the unit on the left by 4, or give the unit on the right immune. Boost the unit on the left by 4, or give a unit... Yeah, that's interesting, that's fine. It's a 9 value for 10 provision cost. This seems to be averagey, maybe even better. And boost seems really good. I mean, you can keep some units alive with it. Oh no, goddammit. Boost an allied elf, dwarf or dryad by 2. This seems weak. Like it's 8 points for 10 provision cost, while this guy is 10 and this guy is 9. It's probably not worth it. Okay. Boost an allied... Oh, it's end, yeah. It's end. So... it's 12 points for 10 value. Now I take it back. This is a pretty good card. But you probably won't play all of them in the same deck, so... Again, it's not really 12 value. Okay, so we can go again. Yarp and Zigrin. Every turn on turn end, if there are no allied units on the battlefield, boosts out by 3. So if he's alone. So it's basically smart to play him with special cards. This seems like a spell Scoia'tael archetype style. Then maybe you want to try to give him immune. On turn end, double all boosts. This unit receives during the turn. Yeah, we've seen this card before. Double all boosts. What I think about it? Well, it's a hand buff strategy basically. It's a hand buff card. I think it's a cool card. Whenever this unit is boosted, boost self by 2. Okay, we have a new boost strategy. Okay, does it work in hand though? Because if that works in hand, then this is a really good card. But if it doesn't, then it's an average value generation card. Feel of Alondra could work. Damage an enemy by 1, reduce this unit's cooldown by 1 whenever an allied trap is played. Interesting. Looks like every deck needs 2 to 3 locks on PTR. Yeah, or just a removal. Damage an enemy by 1, reduce this unit's cooldown by 1 whenever allied trap is played. So you basically want to play a lot of traps with this guy. This is an interesting card, and it has 6 value, so it's pretty hard to remove him. I think this is a good trap card. Let's put it in. Ambush. When your opponent passes, boost adjacent units by 4. Okay. So whenever opponent passes, boost adjacent units by 4. So this is pretty interesting. It's an old Toraville actually. It's not interesting or whatever. It's an old Toraville. But it's not premium. I hope that's only on PTR. Because it wouldn't be nice to see some cards not being premium. Hey, VTVs, thank you for the follow. Shuffle an allied unit into your deck, then play a unit with the same primary category from your deck and boost it by 2. Shuffle an allied unit into your deck, then play a unit with the same primary category. So you basically just switch cards for 9 provision cost. This seems a bit weak, but I don't know, maybe there is some synergy here. So this is for 9 strength units. Let's go for lower. Order, destroy all other units with the same power as this unit. Okay. So it's basically epidemic, but on 2 strength. This is actually pretty good, because there seems to be a lot of 2 strength units. At least in Scoia'tael. You can reuse gold cards order. It seems on the next turn. If you draw them again. Oh, now I understand. You can reuse order with this card. Okay, then it's pretty interesting. And also play another card with the same category. What kind of game is it? Well, it's Gwent. I don't know what you mean with that. Deploy, boost an ally by 1 for each allied dwarf. Yeah, it's basically the... what's her name? Synthesis, but for dwarfs only, I guess. It's fine. It has synergy for dwarfs. Boost adjacent units by 2. Ranged, boost all other units on this row by 1. Wait, my Gwent is different from yours. Well, it's a PTR of Gwent. You can download it. They already released PTR today. Yeah, it's a good card for rows, but it's weak to lacerate again. Boost adjacent units by 2. That's like 6 value for 8 provision cost. This might be a bit weak. The second ability is better. But if you have synergy with movement, then it's pretty good. Damage an enemy by this unit's power. Okay. Reach 2. So it seems like a hand buff strategy. This could be a really good card. It's already like 8 points for 8 provision cost and synergy for hand buffing. Hand buff seems to be really good. Gain 1 charge for every dryad on this row. Damage an enemy by 1. Okay, so it's a dryad card basically. Order. 3 charges. Interesting. Yeah, you can basically 3 times do 1 damage and gain 1 charge for every dryad on this row. So you basically can keep damaging units. This is actually pretty good. But you need to buff it again, because the opponent just removes it. It's 4 power. Damage an enemy by 3. Ranged lock a unit. So this is a locker and it can also damage. This seems like a good unit. I mean, you can remove a unit and... You still missed cards with 9 provision cost? Did I? Okay, destroy an artifact. Okay, this seems to be the new strategy to destroy artifacts. Or boost a unit by 3. And this is fine. For 8 provision cost, this is an average card. It's good that it has destroy an artifact option. So damage an enemy by 1 for every allied elf. This is good. Like, it's basically the Isengrim, but it requires less provision cost, and also it's kind of better than Isengrim. I don't know, Yavin is actually pretty good, it seems. But Jorvet and Isengrim? Isengrim, Jorvet? Oh, I missed Jorvet, yeah. I might have missed Jorvet. Oh yeah, I missed some of them. I just told about those cards, but I missed some of those. Okay, return an allied trap to your hand, then play a trap from your hand. So it basically replays a trap, and it's actually a trap, so it fits with this deck. I kinda don't like how you don't really see that you already put the card in your deck. I mean, it's a little bit detailed if you didn't put it, but it were Milan and Saskia, you missed the whole row, yeah. Damage an enemy by 4, it's basically an average damage. Or damage 4 enemies by 1, if you want to kill 4 enemies, I guess. But you would usually probably use this damage an enemy by 4. Damage by 4 seems to be really strong. Like, it can remove most value generation cards. Also Saskia, damage a unit by 2 if you have elf, dwarf or dryad in your hand. Decrease cooldown by 1, only once per category. Cooldown 4. So you basically damage a unit by 2. If you have any one of them in your hand, decrease the cooldown by 1. But it seems like if you have 4 of them in hand, it can do every turn its ability, so that's pretty interesting. And it has 5 values, so it's not that easily removed. Okay, Saskia seems really good. The range ability of Milan synergizes with Thoraville. I forgot what Thoraville's ability is. Wait. Damn. Oh yeah, it really does. You're right, it synergizes with Milan. Yeah. So that's pretty good. So now I didn't say this card. Lock a unit and move it to the other row on its side. So it's basically just a lock. Think like those lock a unit only abilities are a bit weak. But it has 6 values, so that's pretty good. Yeah, lock seems to be good. Yeah, it's fine. Destroy an allied artifact and damage an enemy by 4. So it kinda has synergy with artifacts. This could be good. I don't know. It could be. But would you really want to remove an artifact? Maybe if they're not banished, but I think they're banished. Destroy the next special card played by your opponent when its ability is triggered. Ambush play, phase down, so this is an ambush. Maybe when it activates it has no use, so this could work with ambush cards. Like those are artifacts, right? So this could have great synergy with it. If this unit is already boosted, gain resilience. This seems a really strong card though. So it's basically a hand buff card with resilience, but it's gonna be really hard to remove it because it will have like 6 or 9 value. Every turn on turn end, boost a random unit in your hand by 1. Okay, Old Dragoon pretty much. But you would have to boost this unit because 4 removal is everywhere. Seize an enemy whose power is less than or equal to this unit's charge. Then remove all charge from this unit. Gain 1 charge whenever you play an elf. So it's basically an elf synergy card. Again, you have to boost it because it has only 4 value. But it seems really good with elf decks. Immune boosts elf by 1 whenever you play a Scoia'tael unit. Okay, so this is basically good in any Scoia'tael deck, but again you have to boost it. 4 removal is everywhere. Then you have destroy the next unit played on your opponent's side. Okay, this could be really good. You can prevent really strong cards, but then again you don't know what you will prevent with it. So it can be played around easily. It's like a previous Moran. Destroy the next Scoia'tael card played by your opponents before its ability is triggered. Yeah, basically it's an old gold Moran. It's like okay-ish. It's weak pretty much. I think it's pretty weak. Okay, you don't need to boost Milva cause she's immune. Oh, she's immune? Okay. Then she... Where is Milva now? Here. But Malena you have to boost. Okay, so Milva has immune. In that case, she is pretty good on her own. Like, really good. It's probably an auto-include at this point. Like in every Scoia'tael deck. I don't know. Immune seems to be a bit too strong. So next card is Half-Elf Hunter. Damage an enemy by 1 for every trap in your graveyard. This is a good late game card. Like, for trap deck, it's a really good card. Now you have Volunteers. Summon a copy of this unit from your deck if there is a dwarf on this row. So it's basically a 6 points for 6 provision. This is pretty good in a dwarf deck. Damage an enemy by the number of elves on this row. Okay. So it's basically good in an elf deck. Pretty good. It's a removal. So you can remove a lot of good units. But you need to have like 4 elves on the board. On the row, so that's a little bit weakness of this card. Damage a non-Scoia'tael enemy unit by 3. Damage by 3 is a bit weak. But it's 6 value. So it's an average for its provision cost. But you usually want 4 removal with this patch, it seems like. Damage a random enemy on each row by 2. Okay? So it's basically 5 points. No, 7 points. Actually, this is pretty good. It's a 7 points for 6 provision. This is pretty good. This is above average. Every turn on turn end boosts elf by 1 if this unit is boosted. Okay, so it seems like good value generation. Again, good synergy with hand buff. If there is an allied elf on the battlefield, destroy a random enemy unit. Destroys random enemy unit, so that's a bit of a RNG here. But if only one unit is on the opponent's board, and that one is strong, then this unit can be really good. It's like an old epidemic. But in this new Gwent, this seems to be a little bit more valuable. Play a bronze artifact from your graveyard. Bronze artifact. That's actually pretty good because artifacts are traps. So you can basically replay a trap. Then you have Murano Runestone, create and play any bronze or silver Scoia'tael card. It's basically an old Runestone RNG style. Okay. Damage an enemy by 4 if there are no other units on this row. Actually, this is pretty good. But you probably want to play only one per round. Unless you play it. Yeah. Seems like a really good card. Damage by 4 is always good in this meta. I mean, not meta, in this PTR. Deploy boost self by 1 for each elf in your hand. So if you have like 4 elves, it's average. It all comes to the RNG of a draw. You basically need to fill your deck with elves for this card to work. If this... just a moment. If this is already boosted, gain Zeal. Order boost a unit by 3. Zeal is units with order may be triggered in the same turn they are played. So basically it works great with hand buff again. It only needs to be boosted by 1, so that doesn't seem that hard. And boost a unit by 3. How many triggers does it have? If it has only 1, then it's an average card. It seems okay with hand buff, I guess. But outside hand buff, it's pretty bad. Deploy boost self by number of dwarfs on your other allied row. Again, it needs to be played in a long round, otherwise it's bad. And in a dwarf deck. It has the potential though. Some units doesn't have the voice. Melee damage an enemy by 3. It's fine, but too bad it's not 4. Ranged boost an ally by 3, so you have the other option too. It's an average card. Seems to be pretty good that you have a choice. So this makes it a little bit better. Whenever an enemy unit appears, boost self by 1. This is an old smuggler, I think. I think it's called smuggler. Yeah, you have to boost this card to be good. Because 4 removal is everywhere. It's pretty much the best kind of removal. Seems to be every engine is like 4 or 3 strength, so 4 removal is a must-have in deck. Damage an enemy by 1 for each row that separates it from this unit. So it's basically good with movement. Again, it has to be boosted. Oh, it's on deploy, so... Okay. Okay, so it's basically hits every unit by 1 on the row that this unit is not on. It's a weaker loss rate. For 5 provision cost, it's pretty good though. Deploy if this unit is boosted, damage an enemy by 3, reach 2. Okay, so this is pretty good. Average. Damage by 3. You can remove some engines, but not most of them. So you basically synergize it with hand buff again. Where are more ambush cards, really? Boost an ally by 1. If there is allied artifact, boost an ally by 3 instead. So it's above average if you use artifacts, which we have in this deck, so it's pretty good. Damage an enemy by 1. Gain 1 charge whenever you play a dwarf. This seems pretty good. It can easily become an above average card with dwarf deck. Melee damage an enemy by 2. It's an average. Ranged damage 2 units by 1. So it synergizes good with Milva. I think it's Milva. Just a moment. Oh no, Thoraville. It's Thoraville, yeah. It synergizes good with Thoraville. Again. Deploy, if you have an elf in your hand, destroy an enemy unit. No, artifact. It just destroys enemy artifact. It's a 4 value though, so it's fine if you don't get any value out of it. It's a bit below average if you don't get any value out of it, but if you do, it's great. After 3 turns, on turn start, damage all units on the enemy row with most units by 2. Okay. It's basically an lacerate. Why would that be used when you have lacerate on option, really? Order flip face up and damage all units by 1. Oh, so you can trigger it again. Okay, okay. Okay. So it has a side ability, so it's great. It seems to be that now in this new Gwent, most of the cards are actually pretty good. Like some of them aren't, but most of them are pretty good. So they actually did a good job with it. Damage the next unit played by your opponent by 5. Average. Flip face up and damage a unit by 3. Okay. So basically, if you damage an opponent by 5, it's pretty good. Especially if you hit an engine. This is a good removal card. And flip face up, that's a second option if it doesn't work out, so it's okay. Every card has a second ability, which is great if it doesn't work out. Damage an enemy by 3, if it survived, boost self by 1. It's an average. It's like an old dwarf, but with average value of this PTR. Boost a dwarf in your hand by 2. For 4 provision cost. It's fine, it's average. Spawn a default copy of this unit on your other allied row. It's almost the same as Half-Elf Hunter, I think. The old one, but it's on another row. It's actually the same as the old slave infantries. For this value, it's okay. And it has synergy with elves because you play 2 of them. So that's good. Melee boost an allied unit by 2. Ranged heal an allied unit by 4. Okay, so if you need healing, you can get way more value out of this card. But if you don't need healing, then you can use it for an average value. So it's a good elf card. Whenever an allied trap is triggered, boosts self by 2. This card is pretty good, but it needs to be boosted because it can be easily removed. But it's at 3 strength for 4 provision cost, so that's not that bad. Reveal a random card from your deck. If it's an elf, boost self by 3. Yeah. It's... If you play a lot of elves, it's above average card. You basically have to have deck full of elves. The elf deck seems pretty good. All-in elf deck though. Oh, I already checked that card. Destroy an allied artifact and damage a unit by 2. Again, if this works out, it's really strong card. Like, really strong. But if it doesn't, then it's a bit below average. It's not that bad though. Move an enemy unit to its other row. So this one is the card that moves units. So you basically have to put this card in a movement deck. And it's actually pretty good for provision cost. So this is basically it. It seems like you can destroy allied artifacts. And probably you do that when they're useless.